What's up guys, Kyle here again, and today we're going to check out the Marshall JCM 2000 DSL50. Let's do it. Alright guys, hope everyone's doing great today. I really wanted to get a demo into this amp because I've mentioned it a few times on my channel and some guys have expressed interest in it. This amp really doesn't have the greatest reputation among Marshall amps, and I think a lot of that comes from guys who are hanging on to the JCM 800. Yeah, it's not a JCM 800. It doesn't sound like a JCM 800. It doesn't sound bad by any means. I think it sounds awesome. I absolutely love this thing. The amp is certainly more compressed and has a lot more gain and can get muddy, to be completely honest with the gain. It's a little bit more modern than a JCM 800. Even just in the tone stack, it doesn't have quite the big sounding mids that like the JCM 800 has, but overall, it's a really mean sounding amp. I mean, you guys just heard that little intro demo that I did. It sounds awesome for high gain stuff. I've had a ton of these things. They all sound awesome. This one is kind of my baby though. This one has been the best sounding one that I've had. When I got it, it was completely stock. Unfortunately, the output transformer blew up because mine had the issue with the switch in the back where the switch wasn't actually changing the impedance. So it was, you know, on a different impedance than it was supposed to be when it was plugged into a 16-ohm cab. Blew the output transformer, so I gave it to my tech, Mr. Mike Wagner, who replaced the output transformer, fixed the switch issue, and I also had him do a modification because the deep switch was always, in my opinion, the weak spot of this amp. It either had no low end with the deep switch out, or it had way too much woofy low end with the deep switch in. And I'm like, Mike, is there a way that we can put a pot there to kind of fine tune that frequency? Because it's all or nothing, and I'm just not a fan of how that switch reacts with the amp. He said, yeah, we can do that. So he went ahead, installed a pot instead of where the switch is. A couple of you guys have asked me how to do this, and I think he actually came on and replied to a couple of you guys. So Mike's an awesome guy. He will help anybody out, or get the information and put it in the description so you guys know how to do it. But anyways, that has made this amp even more usable for me because now we can fine tune the low end of the amp, and it no longer is gutless or, you know, super boomy and woofy sounding. So that has made a big difference. These amps are just underrated. The 900s are underrated. I think those are awesome amps too, but I think the 2000 is just a little bit better. A lot of people don't like the lead channel on this thing. They think it's too buzzy and too saturated. I disagree with that. If you have the lead 2 in, yeah, it can get kind of nasty. But otherwise, I think this amp sounds absolutely killer. I actually used this amp in place of one of my Spawns last year when Bushido Code played a show. So we're going to dive into the amp a little bit. We'll put everything at noon and turn the boost off. So this is how the amp sounds, lead 1 on the Ultra channel with everything at noon. Definitely has that Marshall brightness to it that they're known for. It can get pretty extreme, so you're going to want to play with the presence and the treble. But that's a great tone right there. I mean, truthfully, just dial down the presence a little bit and that sounds awesome if you're trying to go for the classic rock. Let's try lead 2. So here's lead. Tons of saturation. The low end's a little bit flubby, but and there's a little more compression, but still, not a bad sound by any means. Okay, so let's go back to lead 1 and we'll mess with the tone shift knob. All right, so the tone shift knob kind of scoops the mids out and modernizes the tone stack. I personally am not a fan of it. Switch out. I like those Marshall mids, man, so switch out is where it's at for me. We'll put it back in. If you're not a fan of the Marshall mids that kind of dominate the mix, then maybe that switch is for you. Just not for me. Let's put it on lead 2, try the switch. So yeah, that's what the tone shift switch does. I'm gonna leave it out for the rest of the demo just because I'm not a fan of it. And we're gonna go to lead 1 and try boost. Old Faithful Badass Modified. Now we need to dial the EQ in because the amp is extremely bright. Guys, that sounds great to me. That is a great thrash tone right there. Very bright, it will cut through the mix, no problem, but it might be a little harsh for some. Let's try it with the mids dialed back, presence up a little bit. Not bad. Still seems a bit muffled to me. That treble knob is really touchy. Let's try the TS9. Kind of enhances the harshness if we're being honest. We'll leave it on for a minute. That's a pretty good tone for me, so let's play a little riffy. yeah, that would cut through any mix, no problem. Let's dial the gain up a little bit. Guys, this amp sounds killer. I really love this thing. Let's go over to lead 2. We'll bring the gain down and leave the boost on. Still sounds good. Let's bring treble up and presence down. Could definitely get an old school power trip type tone out of that thing all day. Yeah, so I prefer lead 1. I think it's a little bit more open. It's got a little bit more clarity to it, not quite as much mud. Lead 2 is similar, it just adds some compression and pulls out some of the mids a little bit, makes it slightly more modern and adds more saturation. So really depends on what you're going for. Me personally, I can get all the gain I need out of lead 1 with a good boost and the right guitar. So that's where I tend to live. Real quick, let's check out the green channel and then we'll call it a day on this amp. We're on the classic gain channel and we're on the clean setting. My neck pickup magically decided to start working again. I'm not sure if you guys saw my video on this thing, but the neck pickup was giving me some issues. I'm not a lead player, sorry guys. Nice full-bodied clean. If we run the gain back and the channel up, gives us some clean headroom. That sounds really good. Very chimey, not a Fendery clean, but it's a good sounding clean for sure. Okay, let's go over to the crunch. Classic rock all day long, man. That sounds great. Push the gain a little bit. honestly, if you're going for like a Thin Lizzy type thing or something, I don't get the complaints about this thing. This is a great sounding amp. With a boost, it gets into hard rock territory easy. Alright guys, that's going to be it for me today on the JCM 2000 DSL50. I hope that this demo was helpful for you guys. I really enjoyed playing this amp. You could probably tell by my reaction through the video, but there's tons of great tones packed in these things. I don't know what prices are right now, but there was a while where you could get them for $400 or $500 pretty much any day of the week. I think they're still somewhere in that range, so fully worth it, especially if you want kind of like a high gain Marshall tone and you don't want to spring for like a JBM or anything in the boutique or the boutique range of prices, or boutique range of amps, I guess. This is it, man. Get one of these things, see if you can get somebody to do the little deep pot mod to it, and get a good boost out in front, and you're ready to roll. This thing sounds fantastic. So anyways, Kyle here again. Hope this was helpful. We'll see you guys next time.